We coming inside the museum. We have the idea we coming inside like a church.
I think the museum is a time capsule that is done in the past for the future. And we are, people who work in the museum, we are instruments to keep this capsule alive. Sometimes you need to keep the capsule closed and look around the condition. Sometimes you need to open the capsule and to present it to everybody, to make everybody witness it. So it's anytime different, and I think the key position of museum is to really cleverly understand what to do any particular moment.
Well, museums today are being asked to do so many different kinds of things: drive the economy, rehabilitate cities, innovate neighborhoods. But in the end, they're really about displaying different artifacts of culture. And it's very difficult for them to figure out that sort of balance between doing those two things.
It never changed. It's about collecting, it's about research, it's about displaying it, and conservation to be sure that the other generations to come will have the same inspiration and the same knowledge and the same experience.
I think today we should acknowledge museums, first of all, attract great public attention, and at the same time it's one of the mightiest possibilities of keeping society sane, human, cultural, and under control.
I think the world now have no general or clear cultural conception, and I think museums is a place where the quality of culture should be guaranteed.
The most important is to keep the collections. I'm conservative in this way, so I think the museums need to have collection first. The second, they need to have the very attractive way to display the art pieces. And the third mission is to give some knowledge to the people.
The collection, of course, is extremely important, but it's about people who you want to exchange knowledge with them. It's more about what you want to communicate, what you want to exchange with people. It's about your visitors.
You know, it's all those traditional things about museums that are still important. They're no less important. It's just that there are new voices that continue to come up, and a way for society to reflect on the context of new ideas.
Audience, of course, for museums are extremely important. Nobody wants to see empty museums. That's not interesting, it's very pity. So how museums can compete for the auditorium? What can they give to auditorium back, in this relationship? And so here a very important educational factor of museums. What can they give as new activities, new kind of emotions, maybe new kind of some skills maybe to the visitors?
We have to break boundaries, but not in the way like museum activities, like it's so pedagogical, it's so teaching. We have to do dialogue with the public. We have to invite the community to show the collection. But at the same time, we have to offer this community of this public the experience.
Definitely museums play a major role, a different role right now in our society. Actually, I think they always did, but we have a different view on it. So museums are somehow open spaces for like parks, like sport. It's the public realm, it's part of the public realm, and that makes it so exciting.
Well, the audience is contained within two different positions. On one hand, as a collective audience, on the other hand, as an individual audience. And this singular in the plural motion of possible experiences will always end somehow in the recognition by the individual. So yes, you might belong to a group, a zeitgeist, you might belong to the situation of where things are for the moment, but you will always perceive it in a sort of personalized manner. It has to be part of yourself. So if you can find something, wherever you go, into a museum as well as in your educational location or wherever it might be, which indicates who you are, which brings back to you some reflections upon yourself, then I think we're quite happy with that. And the platform that we're generating for this to happen is called architecture. Architecture is a performative art.
It's interesting that my old friends, they all, everybody wants to be the directors of the museum. When I was young in the Soviet Union, we never think that we will be the directors of the museum. I think that we will be the freelance journalists, or we will write, texts, or we will paint something, we will do something, but not lead the museum. It's interesting how the world changed, the country changed, and everybody wants to be the director of the museum. Why? For me, first argument, because the position of the museum in the world, it's leading institutions, because it shows the status, and its status it goes from the past, from the Soviet past. At the Soviet times, the director of the museum, he was like member of the Politburo. For me, it's not only the problem of the space, but it's the problem of profession.